But the average amount for the Social Security Administration pays out to all recipients and actually tends to change on a monthly basis as more and more beneficiaries are added to the system. As of December, the average Social Security payment for retirees was $1,600, and this jumped up to $1,800 for 2023, thanks to the cost of living adjustment. There's no way of predicting the accuracy of the amount or the average of Social Security payment in the summer months of 2023, but based on the monthly trend from January to April, a decent estimate for that number would be almost $1,900. It's important to bear in mind that this doesn't mean that your payment will reach the number. It's the average amount that you'll be reported by the SSA. The payment that you received in January will remain fixed for the remainder of the year. After decades of meager cost of living adjustments, the SSA has pumped up payments for recipients in 2023 as well. This was in response to skyrocketing inflation rates and they're hitting the 40-year highs. For 2022, the COLA was 5.9%, while the 2023 COLA hit 8.7%. That boosted the average monthly Social Security payment for retirees to $1,700. And with inflation falling throughout 2023, Social Security recipients should expect that their COLA will be lower than the 2023 years. While it's hard to know with certainty what inflation will do in the summer months, there are already projections as to what the COLA will be in 2024. If you're already drawing Social Security benefits, there's not much you can do to increase them other than waiting for next year's COLA. But if you're still in the workforce, there are two primary ways to bump up the benefit. According to Yahoo, the first is to maximize the amount you earn every year, and the SSA calculates your benefit based on 35 top earning years of your working year up to the annual wage base. So for example, the SSA wage base is $160,000. So the more you earn up to that limit, the more money you will get. The largest House Republican group is backing some changes, and it can mean serious monthly benefit adjustments for Social Security. In just 6 days, the SSA will be distributing another wave of payments. The largest caucus of House Republicans have officially proposed the U.S. retirement age for collecting for Social Security is going to be raised from 69 to 68. And now, the Republican study is going to be made the proposal as part of a fiscal blueprint. The plan also includes making the former president's tax cuts for the wealthy permanent. They are currently scheduled to expire in 2027, and the automatic entitlement schedule program is for Medicare and Social Security alone. With military spending kept intact, the discretionary cuts would fall entirely on domestic Social Security spending, infrastructure, housing, and education, and more. It was the first time since the Republicans gained a narrow majority in the House in the 2022 elections that so many Republicans have publicly committed themselves to a major cut in Social Security benefits. The Republican Study Committee made a similar proposal last year. Republicans were in the minority, and its recommendations had no prospect of receiving a vote on the House floor. The Republican Study Committee dropped a proposal adopted a year ago to raise the eligibility age for blueprints, and now Medicare has remained a fixture for the lives of tens of millions of elderly and retired people. According to recent data, many of them entirely dependent on the federal insurance program to ensure access to affordable health care. The Republican Study Committee would actually propose a phase in the increased retirement age for full Social Security benefits gradually. Even lawmakers on both sides are working on this and trying to give people the money they deserve.
Now, on the Senate July work period, as the Senate gavels back in, our North Star remains unchanged: to build on our historic work over the past few years, to strengthen our economy, make life better for the American people, and do it in a bipartisan manner whenever possible. A little over a month ago, both parties came together to avert a catastrophic default on the national debt, while agreeing on spending levels that will keep our country and our economy strong. This month, the work of funding the government will continue. It won't be easy, but must get done with good faith and bipartisan work. I am pleased so far that this process is moving along in the Senate through the Appropriations Committee, through regular order, in a bipartisan way. And we will do everything we can to ensure that it remains that way. In another act of bipartisanship, on something equally significant, the Senate will move forward on the annual National Defense Authorization Act so we can keep our country safe, support our friends in Ukraine, outcompete China, and give our troops the pay raise they rightfully deserve. I thank Chairman Reid and Ranking Member Wicker for moving the NDAA through the Armed Services Committee last month. And I hope that we can move quickly on it here on the floor in July. These two areas, appropriations and the NDAA, the Defense Act, are prime examples of the kind of bipartisan work we want to see in the Senate, and which I've worked with my colleagues to foster. We also need that bipartisanship on other issues, too, to reduce the cost of insulin and prescription drugs.
Annual stimulus program. When I say they, I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans. They will allocate billions of dollars towards new relief. Some Americans will receive these checks automatically, while others are going to have to a little bit more action. So there is a little less than a month before Colorado residents even who file their taxes receive this extra money. The Colorado Cashback Program, for instance, will give taxpayers who file their 2021 taxes by October 17th, $750 by the end of this month of January. Eligible couples will get $1,500, and even the governor who signed the law in May is set to return the money to taxpayers, as he originally intended for the payment to be $400 for individual filers and $800 for couples. According to the Colorado Department of Revenue, the amount was increased due to excess state revenue. The payment arriving by the end of the month will be for state residents who filed an extension, and the first round of payments was for people who had filed their taxes by June 30th and paid to residents September 30th payments. So, example of this is what I'm talking about, and when Colorado residents, they must be 18 or older by the end of this year to claim this free stimulus credit. Free stimulus credit, folks, because if a taxpayer who's eligible to receive this check owes any money to the government, like a child support or unpaid parking tickets, well, the rebate amount will decrease. Also, everybody, President Biden and top lawmakers fanned out across the country this week to visit bridges that are said to be repaired with new infrastructure money. President stopped at, for instance, the Brent Spence Bridge, which crosses the Ohio River, connecting Connecticut and Kentucky. The event touting an infusion of repair money going to bridges, not people. Why is it going to bridges? I have no idea, everybody. We all have to blame it on President Biden, because the focus of the White House and the GOP leadership on areas of bipartisan cooperation is a marked contrast to the House Representatives, as they're still struggling to enact somebody to take charge. So what I want to say is that the infrastructure law put aside $100 billion for roads and bridges, and now rural broadband, ports, and other items are having some difficulties around us. For instance, this week's visit coincided with the announcement that approximately $2 billion of the money will be set aside for repairs in a large bridge program, which includes the Brent Spence Bridge and 3 other bills that the administration describes as some of America's most economically significant spans. Now, Kamala Harris also has visited Ford Drawbridge in the south side of Chicago near Illinois. She's talking about something about to repair these bridges, and Biden and other officials have also talked about lauding the importance of economic repairs for bridges in